Hello everyone, welcome back to another session. Today we are going to start with Chapter 4, Grade 6 CBSE, Key Elements of a Democratic Government. So what all topics are we supposed to cover in today's session? Story of South Africa, participation, other ways of participating, how can we people participate in a democratic setup, and how does the government resolve and why is there a need to resolve, what all situations are to be checked. Then we are going to talk of equality and justice. Dono jo hain, both equality and justice, they are inseparable, but I'll give you more information, more insight so that you are completely in tune with this topic and you never feel it's very difficult. Chalo, so let's get started. First, I want to tell you about this country, South Africa, right here. So this country, South Africa, it has people from several races, means different origin. People from different origin are there. For example, I talk of the people living in South Africa who were born here, who settled here. So they are called the blacks. Okay. The other people who came from Europe, they were known as whites. And some of the Indians were also there who moved to South Africa as laborers, as traders. So they were another race. Okay. So they were Indians. So that means race basically means a group of people who speak a common language, and also they have a shared physical or social equality qualities to each other, and they have a distinct characteristic in the society. They sort of have some kind of similarity that brings them together yet separates them from the other groups and makes them unique in a way. Fine. So some very special trait that a particular group has. Anyway, now I'm going to talk of this girl here. And a very interesting story that I'm going to narrate. This girl's name is Maya Naidu. But even before I do that, I want to bring it to your notice, guys. A lot of people do not know that South Africa's capital is not Johannesburg. Johannesburg is the largest city. It is not the capital, this is the largest city, not the capital. And also, South Africa has got 3 capitals. Yes, it's called 3 capital cities. One is its legislative, where the laws are framed. One is its executive. And one of the capital is its judicial capital. So yes, 3 distinct cities, 3 different capitals. A lot of people didn't know that. Alright, so coming back to our topic. So there is this girl, Maya Naidu, who's just 11 years old. So her age is 11 years old, and one day her mother was just trying to arrange some thing at their place. And her mother and she's been living in the largest city by now. I think you guys know which city I'm going to talk of. It's Johannesburg. So they both live in Johannesburg, and the mother was cleaning up some old boxes. All of a sudden, Maya came and sat very next to her. So Maya found a scrapbook. Now it's a scrapbook. It's like any other textbook which has a lot of pics in it. Some articles, some pictures, some newspaper articles are there. So that's a scrapbook. I'm sure most of you've maintained one or the other scrapbook at some stage. So when she finds this scrapbook, here she finds the photo of a boy whose name is Hector Peterson. And she happens to ask her mother, "Mama, who is this boy?" So her mother tells Beta, "It is not is. Ask who was the boy." So she says, "What happened?" So she says, "Beta, this boy that you're having a look at, his name is Peterson or Hector Peterson, and he was shot by police." Maya was shocked. She said, "Why? What happened? Why was he shot by the police? What did he do wrong? So then her mother started to explain her that when Africa was not an independent nation, at that time we had apartheid. Apartheid laws. It basically means there is a system where there is segregation, where there is discrimination made, among the people who belong to different race. If whites are there, then the blacks would be separated from them. They won't be allowed to use their services. So that means you're not treating human beings as human beings. You're trying to discriminate them against one factor or the other. You're trying to project that there are some people who are called superior and there are some people who are called inferior. We are superior and the others are inferior. That's apartheid. So at that time, when Africa was ruled by Europeans, so apartheid, which means separation on the basis of race, was practiced here. So that means blacks, whites, and even Indians, they were separated, they were discriminated based on their color. They were not allowed to talk to each other, they were not allowed to be friends, they were not allowed to use the common facilities. Maya just couldn't believe her ears. She said, "Mom, what are you talking of? I don't see this anymore apartheid here." So her mother, as she was narrating, she turned very angry because these things made her very, very upset, very, very angry. She said, "Maya, you don't know. At that time when this apartheid system was ruling, it was controlling our life, it was miserable. It was too bad. The hospital, the ambulance, the bus services, right? The bus stops, the trains, everything was separate." So, whenever the hospital bus or ambulance used to come to pick up some black patient, they were not well equipped. They didn't have all the equipments in the ambulance. So that is how we were discriminated. And even the non-whites, they were not allowed to vote. Forget about other things. In our nation, we were not even allowed to vote, to participate. And the best of our land, best of the land in Africa was controlled by the white people. So Maya got a look of this. She got a glimpse of how the blacks and the colored people, colored means beta yahan par Indians, how the blacks and the colored people, they were not declared or considered equal to the whites. They were not. They were treated in a very discriminatory way. So she again came to the point. She said, "Mom, what about the story of that boy Hector? What went wrong?" So the mother explained. She said, "Beta, so let's say this is South Africa here. Okay. So in this area here exactly, you have a place that's called Soweto. So this Hector, he belonged to a black township that's called Soweto, and he lived here with his parents. And one day what happens is, in the school, the people who were ruling South Africa, they said, now all of you have to practice and learn Afrikaans language. So Maya asked, "What's wrong with it?" So the mother told, "Beta, it seems like this is an African language, but no, it is not an African language. It is a West Germanic language, which means it was brought by the Europeans to our nation, and we were forced to learn their language. And Hector and his classmates, they all, criticized this effort, and they said, we are not going to learn this language, rather we'll protest against it. We want to learn the African language that is called Zulu. We want to learn this language and not this language." So when they all came out for the rally, right, and started to project things that this is not right. At this time, Hector was killed by one of the bullets that was used against him, and he was killed on 16th of June 1976. Now, after hearing all this, Maya turned very upset, and the mother continued. She said, "Beta, look, this person, his name is Nelson Mandela. At this time when apartheid was being practiced in Africa, at this time there was a very important party that played a very important role to fight against this system and to fight against apartheid. That's called African National Congress. And their leader was Nelson Mandela. He sacrificed his decent lifestyle. He took on him all the pain. He was sent to the prison to exile, for years together to Robben Islands. And after a lot of struggle, he managed to set his nation free. He managed to achieve democracy in South Africa. And he also turned out to be the first black president of the nation from 1994 to 1999. He was the first black president. And after he became the first black president, he did not practice apartheid. He believed that all races need to be considered equal. Even if the European people, they practiced this apartheid where they were allowed to sit in a different chamber and the other blacks were asked to sit in a different chamber, we won't do that to them. We won't make them feel like what they made us feel. So that is something very good. That is the true spirit of democracy, where all the people, all the races are considered equal and are given equal rights, equal opportunity, and equal importance. Isn't that true? That is the crux of this chapter. Fine, guys. So that's all for today. We're going to talk about the next part in the next session. And till we meet next, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you.